Hey, what is up, YouTube? Riverside. Give me a second here to get Facebook going, and then we will rock and roll. I didn't click all the buttons in Facebook. So we'll do that, and then we will get this thing going. Hey, what is up, everyone? My name is Trevor. This is Build with the CEO. It is Tuesday, a little afternoon. I'm a couple minutes late today. I smell like I did a VO2 max day today, which I did earlier. Been listening to a lot of Peter Attia lately, so he's been kind of motivating me to get after it a little bit. So got the Super Coach T on. So we're ready to rock and roll. Today we're going to be talking about front end offers, and we're actually doing a little teardown of some front end offers that that I found. I grabbed some off the internet, and we're going to look at them. Things they did really well, things they could maybe do a little bit better. And so we're going to do that. But first, if you didn't watch last week's episode on front end offers, it's a good one. There's this thing called 4Ps that I talk about in that episode. And it really can help lay the framework for a front end offer and really any sort of offer. We say front end offer because it's typically like that gateway drug for a client, right? It gives them a taste of what we do. Maybe it's 21 days, maybe it's 4 weeks. It's easier to take a cold lead, so someone that really isn't in your circle, and move them to a front end offer versus straight to a coaching program. So it can be like that nice first step for them to be able to just come in, see who you are, see what you're all about, and see if you vibe, because a lot of coaching is being able to vibe with that coach and feel like they understand you. So there were 4 P's to it. The first one being promise. Like, what is the promise? And we're going to look at a few of those today. The promise, because this is really, really, really important, because your promise needs to be crystal clear. Most of the front end offers, the promise is really vague, right? It's just like, we're going to help you lose weight. Cool. Like 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds. Is it going to take me 3 months, 6 months? And so we can get clear on that promise. The second one is the package. So this is all the deliverables. Like, how are you actually going to deliver on your promise? That's the package, right? And remember, with package, we can use the word so that. If we take a feature, we made a recipe guide so that you don't have to figure out what to eat every week, right? So if you add so that, we can turn it from a feature into a benefit, which resonates better with the prospect or the person reading, right? They just understand it. They're not in the know. Then we have to think about price. Okay, we want to be congruent on price, making sure that we're not offering a 6-week challenge for $19 and then our coaching services are $500. Two completely different buyers. And we want to make sure that we're attracting the right people. I would rather have less of the right people than a whole bunch of people that aren't going to be a good fit or may not potentially convert after that low barrier offer, that front end offer. Unless you're just in the challenge space and like that's what you do. You sell challenges over and over and over again, and you have a big enough audience and enough volume to be able to do that. Then, like, by all means, rock and roll with it. And then the last one is path forward. We want to make sure that we are explaining what that path forward looks like. Okay. And starting earlier rather than later. Don't wait till the end of the offer, the front end offer, to be like, hey, what are we doing now? Right. We should be seeding that throughout with testimonials, with here's how we do things in my main coaching program, with success stories, and then potentially giving them an invite into that main program at week 2 or 3 or 4. You can experiment with that a little bit. But those are just some things that we talked about last week and a whole lot more. So if you missed that episode, if you're inside of Facebook, just scroll down, find the previous Build with the CEO. If you're on YouTube, it's underneath our live. It's underneath our live channel. And then it's also in Vimeo, and we email all the stuff out too. So just check old emails for that kind of stuff. So today I want to break things down a little bit more. And so let me move some screens around. I've got a few screenshots here of some kind of fitness related, but also of some like not so fitness related, which is kind of fun. So let me move that guy over here, and we're going to get one more. Let's see, where did he go? One more. There it is. And we'll bring that guy over here too. So I got a couple here. And we'll see with this like screen share thing, how that's going to work. But let me share my screen. And let's see if I can share just a specific screen or not. All right. Let's see what are these guys called? Let's see if it'll let me share just that specific screen. All right, no, we're just going to do the entire screen. So we're just going to share this entire screen. We'll do that. It's going to get me out of the way. And now I can show you a couple different screenshots that I took from the Book of Faces. So one of these, I think this person's actually running some Coach Catalyst stuff based upon, I didn't actually check, but let's look at these here as like some front end offers, right? Low barrier offers. These are kind of first steps. So this first one, it's a basketball training program, pretty obvious, right? It's probably geared towards little kids. And so the visual gives me immediate information on who it's for, right? But kids aren't buying this, right? Parents are buying this because they see their kid shoot like the kid on the left and they want their kid to shoot like the kid on the right. Whether or not their kid wants to shoot like that, that's probably like another episode, but let's just for today's purposes look at this. All right, 20 minutes a day to perfect form. It's very clear. What is the promise, right? Just 20 minutes. So we have a nice time frame in that promise. Perfect form, right? If you're familiar with basketball, shooting form is really important in making more shots. And then we actually go over some kind of objections. No ball, cool. No hoop, cool. No problem, right? You don't need a ball. You don't need a hoop. So we're making it really, 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 really easy to be able to do this. And it creates a little curiosity. I don't need a ball to shoot better. I don't need a hoop to shoot better. Like, how am I going to do this? Right. So it starts to add a little bit of curiosity, and then it takes away some of those objections. Oh, I don't have a ball. Okay, cool. No problem. I don't have a hoop. Right. Okay, cool. No problem. You don't even need to leave your house. Right. And then click to get the offer button to get success. So we're telling them what the next steps are. This is actually a Facebook ad, by the way. And so I don't know how this ad is performing or anything like that, but it's really interesting. I think it's really straight to the point. Yes, there was some copy and other things that went along with it, but I wanted to show this image because I thought this was a really, really good example of being really crystal clear on what the offer is, right? What the next steps are, and it's good. I think the before and after I think is really, really helpful here too. And before and afters are really challenging on Facebook just because of the nature of the business that most of us are in. But if we can get before and afters, they are the absolute best. And so that's really powerful, right? So let's kind of get that one out of the way, right? And then let's bring in this other one. So we'll see if when I blow this up here, there was an image with this one too, by the way. I'm just like, I didn't want to screenshot that for, because I didn't want to potentially show who this was for, or make anyone feel bad about us talking about it or anything like that. So there's nothing in here that identifies who this person is or what this organization is. But I believe this is one of the Coach Catalyst programs because Back to the Basics is what we've named one of our programs. So let's take a look at it. Back to the basics, fueling your body with food that works, feeling overwhelmed by nutrition advice, tired of trying every diet or plan, only to end up more confused. So these are probably the two most important lines, right, in this entire thing. And so back to basics, fueling your body with food that works. Like, it's kind of telling what it is, right? But I'm not really getting a ton of like benefit. And so we're not necessarily like agitating any sort of pain here. So if I was kind of talking about this, or if I was maybe putting this into ChatGPT to have them help me with it, or if I was working with an individual, like, hey, can we get a little bit more pain early on? But we get that in the second line where we're feeling overwhelmed by nutrition advice. The first thing I would ask is that what people are actually feeling, right? Have people complained to you about feeling overwhelmed by too many things? And it's very possible, right? And so we could maybe add to this one as well, instead of like feeling overwhelmed by nutrition advice, which means you're not doing anything, or like something to kind of like, if we could get some action in there, because just the act of feeling overwhelmed, but it's like, are you feeling paralyzed by, the amount of nutrition advice out there and don't know what to do, right? We want to try and just really dive deep into the pain. And then tired of trying every new diet or plan only to end up more confused. So one thing here is like we're talking a lot about, and these two is about like confusion. And so is this person not getting results because they're confused and don't know what to do? Or has it become something else? You maybe tried every diet or plan only to end up gaining more weight back after you stop, right? Or something about like the physical effects that are maybe happening, right? Because most people don't necessarily wake up in the, because like a lot of this, my guess is it's geared towards like weight loss, like from a very direct standpoint, right? And so can we tease that out a little bit? And I don't know any of the background to any of this stuff, right? And so I don't know if, right, maybe Facebook flags something or yada yada yada, right? Because we have to be careful when we talk about these things on Facebook. But can we tie in more to that kind of stuff? Like, why is someone seeking a change? Are they seeking a change because they're confused, or are they seeking a change because they're unhappy with where they're at? Right. And if they're unhappy with where they're at, then we need to kind of craft some of this copy to all play back into why they're unhappy with where they're at. Right. And so next thing is time to simplify. Join us for Back to Basics Nutrition Made Simple, a live seminar built for real people with real lives. And I would maybe tease, so real people with real lives is, it's kind of like a vague statement. I would kind of tease that out a little bit. Whether you're a gym goer, class regular, personal training client, parent, or just busy as heck, this event will help you cut through the noise and build better habits without the stress. And I would probably challenge this person to go a little bit deeper with who that avatar is for. Is it the gym goer? Is it the personal training client? Or is it the person that doesn't go to the gym? Like, who is this person for? Right, like, can we be a little bit more specific on who this person is for? All right, then we've got the kind of the details about it. Now we've got the what you'll learn. Okay, so this is really interesting. The 3 habits that actually move the needle. And with that, I would, again, it's kind of it's vague language, and I would want it to be a little bit deeper. Right. I would want it like, what are these habits actually going to do? Are they going to help me lose weight? Are they going to help me gain muscle? Are they going to, what are they going to do? All right. How to eat more protein and produce without obsessing. Realistic time-saving meal prep strategies. How to build balanced meals. So this is, I think, a classic example of like features where we could add so that realistic time-saving meal prep strategies, so that you can create family-friendly meals in under 10 minutes, or so that you can eat healthy without having to give up your entire evening, right? How to build balanced meals, no tracking apps required. So that, and if it is a no tracking apps required, how to build balanced meals so that you don't have to put everything into a tracking app just to see if it makes sense. The biggest nutrition myths you can finally ditch, so that you stop doing the things that you think are helping you make progress and start actually making progress with the correct strategy or something like that, right? I mean, we could tease out what this actual language is, but hopefully you start to get a picture of how we can kind of frame this a little bit more to the person that's reading it. This is not a diet challenge or cleanse. It's a practical habit-based approach to eating for strength, for energy, strength, and long-term health. Again, I think it's very feature. Like, I think I would want to tie in more benefit. Can we add more benefit? What's in it for the person? What's in it? I think that's the number one question we can always ask when we're looking at this stuff. What's in it for me? Right? What's in it for me? And let's remove any barriers to that and really give me a reason to show up. Bonus, every attendee gets take-home resources and access to a limited time nutrition coaching offer. I don't know if access to a limited time nutrition coaching offer is what you would want. Maybe you could do like a, hey, bonus, every attendee gets a specific plan. Can we talk about more about what the take home resources are? What is it, and how is it going to help someone? Right. And then maybe, if this is a way to drive leads towards nutrition coaching, right, we could say, hey, like, anyone that shows up, we'll give you your $10 back. Right. We guarantee that it's gonna be the best thing, and we'll give you your $10 back, because we're just using that as a way, as a pre-commitment, right? We want someone to commit, put down the $10 so they actually show up. If they actually show up, cool, give them the $10 back, right? And then that gives you the opportunity to show them how you can help them be successful, right? And so I would kind of define what some of this stuff is. So I've went back and forth on all of this, and I maybe need to talk to more people about this, but like this idea of like nutrition coaching, like no one really wants nutrition coaching. They want what nutrition coaching gives them, right? Which is potentially better performance if you're an athlete, if it's weight loss, if you're that type of client, it's muscle gain. Like they want the what comes from nutrition coaching. And so they want the feelings, they want the result. And so let's paint a little bit more of the destination, right? Um, Bring a friend and grab your spot. Space is limited, right? It's kind of like some false scarcity to an extent. Like, do I actually believe this, right? Could we even do something around bring a friend and we'll give you an extra $5 or $10? Can we incentivize it? Can we incentivize it a little bit? Or can we find a way to make it valuable to bring a friend? And then sign up with the link below. Let's go. We tell them exactly where to go. And so, like, I think this is pretty good, but I think it could get really good if we added in some more benefit, if we kind of agitated the pain a little bit and really dig into the, what's the word I'm looking for? And pain's probably the best one, right? Really dig into the pain that people are having and how this seminar is going to solve that pain. So, yeah, just, I mean, something to think about there with this. Like, it's interesting, and so hats off to this person for getting it out there and putting this out there. I'd be curious on the results, on how well this is working for someone. But just some things to think about there. All right, next one that I want to talk about, and we'll get off the sharing here. Yeah, not stop my episode. So, all right, with this one, the next one here, let me pull this guy up. We'll do one more. All right, here was another really interesting. Drop 2 inches in 14 days without dieting. So that's our headline. Okay, drop 2 inches in 14 days without dieting. A couple cool things there. We have the result, right, that the person is going to get. We have the time frame, and then we have this without action, without dieting, right? Oh, I don't need a diet and I can still lose the weight. It's intriguing, right? Tell me more. Right? It's a really good headline because we have the result, we have the time frame, and then it has this fun, like most people think about, I'm going to have to do X, but it's actually the opposite. Without dieting, oh, I don't need to diet. Cool. And so key elements here: clear promise, lose 2 inches in 14 days, right? The barrier is really low. It's a short duration, right? 14 days. There's no strict, quote unquote, strict dieting that's required. The pain is very real, right? If I have inches to lose, right, it makes sense for me. Oh, cool. Like, tell me more. And then, like, this is an example of a front end offer. Like, someone is not going to get the results in 14 days, but it at least gives me a chance to start helping them. And then we can move into a longer term coaching program. So it levers that like desire for immediate results, which I think is really important. As much as we may kind of preach, and I'm in this camp as well, like long-term habits, yada, yada, yada. Like that's not necessarily why people sign up. Like, it's hard for someone to sign up for the rest of their life type of stuff, right? That's what fitness is, right? Once you get fit, right, you can't just like stop and you get to keep it, right? This isn't like an investment account that if I get it to a certain amount, I can just stop and I can live off the interest, right? That's just not how fitness works, because the body is a dynamic organism, right? And so if the body is not being challenged to grow, then it is starting to regress. This thing called aging, right? We've all got it. And so fitness is something that someone needs to continue to do for the rest of their life, right? And so it's a pretty challenging sell. And so if I was to say, like, on day one, someone that's been out of shape and like, hey, you know what? We're going to be doing this forever, right? Or if I could motivate them with something fast and quick and get them results really quick and early, that's going to motivate them to continue, right? Motivation is really, really important at the beginning, right? We kind of need a little bit of that extrinsic motivation to develop the intrinsic stuff. And so these kind of shorter term programs can get someone to to be motivated to do some of this kind of stuff, right? So that's where our front end offer comes in. And hopefully you kind of saw a few examples today. Again, like resources, Claude, CLAUDE, AI resources, Chat GPT. I'm playing with a new one called Manus. Like all of these are great tools to help you refine your thinking. Hey, maybe I'm not a great copywriter. Cool. Like use the resources that are out there. Like there's no excuses anymore with AI. You just have to ask it good questions. And the more you ask it questions, the better you get at asking those questions and those prompts. And you can come up with some really, really good stuff. So the more it knows about who you're trying to attract and what your skill set is and how you help them and all of that, the more you can feed it, it can help you come up with some of this stuff, which will help you ultimately just resonate with people better. Because that's the goal, right? I'm trying to resonate with someone that doesn't really know who I am, but has a problem, and I have the answer to that problem. And honestly, like we're doing that person a disservice by not making sure that they know that I have the answer to their problem and I can help them. Right? It's ultimately, if they know that I can help them, it's on them to decide that they need help. Right? But if they don't even know that I can help them, that's on me. Right? And so, like we run into the same stuff at Coach Catalyst. We're still not known in the industry like some of the other big players, and that's on us. Right? Even though we know we have a better platform than a lot of people in this industry, if not everyone in the industry. But that's a big piece for us too. Is like, how do we make sure that more people are aware that we can help them? Right? So that's on us as coaches. That's how, we just get better at our marketing, get better at this kind of stuff. And then when we write things, it just resonates with people and they want to go a little bit deeper. So use those resources. They're out there. When we're thinking about creating this stuff, right? Remember those 4 Ps, right? Where we start with, we've got price, we've got package, we've got the promise. And honestly, I like to start with the promise. I think that's a good place to start. Can we make it kind of time dependent? Can we throw a result in there? Can we say the without something that someone would think you would need? How do you gain muscle without having to go to the gym, right? That's kind of like, oh, interesting. Tell me more. And then from there, talking about like that path moving forward, right? So let me put these in a better order for you. That the order that I like: promise first, right? We want that piece. And then we're like, all right, to deliver that promise, what's the package that I need, right? And with the package, we do features and benefits. And then after the package, what is the price that I should price this thing at, and make sure that it's congruent with my other services. And then finally, make sure that I have a path moving forward for people that are part of this front end offer. Like they know exactly what the next steps are and how I can help them. Right. So if you execute those 4, like you're going to have a pretty solid front end offer, and then it's just getting it in front of more people, right? And finding ways to do that. And so I've done a ton of episodes on that as well. So if you need that stuff, just search for it and you'll find it. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful today. It's fun to bring in examples. If you have an example or would like me to look at something, I'm happy to look at it and give you some feedback on it. But ultimately, we got to get stuff out there. We got to try things, see what happens, see how people react, and then go from there. So if I can be any help, definitely reach out, and hopefully you got some value out of today. Again, my name is Trevor. I'm the CEO of Coach Catalyst, and I will see you next week, Tuesday at noon. We'll see you later. Bye.